there's some new Android malware that steals cryptocurrency.
So John, you've got a story about some interesting new Android malware that has to do with cryptocurrency. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. The security firm, which is called Group IB, has identified this malware, which I'm probably going to butcher the name, is Gustuff, which essentially gets sold. You pay for the service, and you put it in these Android apps that get pushed to the user through SMS. So, for example, a victim would receive a text that says, click here to do whatever. And they click that, and they get the push of the app, which, as we know, is called side loading.
Side loading is loading an app in a sort of non-standard way, so through a direct install rather than going through a store or downloading through an approved manner.
Once the victim has loaded that app, now they're basically, this thing is designed to look for banks in bank apps and pretend to be them, or to steal the contents of them. And it can even do other things, like they say it can take your SMSs, it can copy your locations, it does all these things. It's pretty nasty and pretty cheap, like $800, I think, something like that, to get a copy of it.
Interesting. So the malware itself gets installed, but then it determines what bank the user has. Can you tell us a little bit more? How does it do that?
Yeah, well, it does. Essentially, it's kind of like a little database. It says, okay, I see that you have the Bank of America app on your phone. And then it says, okay, so if you have the Bank of America app, I'm going to target your account this way. Or if you have, name the bank, name the feature. So it created this little database that says, if you have these particular, functions or particular mechanisms to access your banking data, this is how I'm going to attack you. And it's very tailored to the individual, to the victim, so that you don't have to know all this stuff. It can just say, okay, I know that you have Bank of America. This is how I get into your account, and then it proceeds to utilize that information that is gathered from you to maybe even just your normal use to pretend to be you.
It's interesting. We think about browsing and private browsing and kind of keeping that safe and secure, but you don't never think about the apps that you have being like a form of sensitive information. It just shows you that you really need to be thinking of your device and how you're using your device as a personal profile.
It's pretty scary, and this malware, like I said, it almost owns the whole device. So, and I shouldn't say almost, because it really does, because it can take your SMS messages, it can pretend to be you. It can even take the device and take it all the way back to the factory default of settings, which I don't know why it would, but it has that capability because it has that level of permission.
So you would have to sideload this app based on, for example, like you said, an SMS message from a total stranger. But then in Android, it should say, these are the permissions you're about to give to this application. And it sounds like it's going to ask for all the permissions on the phone. And hopefully a user should be able to tell the difference, or at least say, why does my banking app need access to my camera? Why does it need access to, there's things that I think a normal user would be able to pick up on, I hope.
You'd really hope. And, as much as we talk to people, don't do side loading. If you, like you said, permissions, if my, that cool game that my stranger buddy just sent me a text on, says, hey, I need your access to your camera or to your microphone or to storage, and it says anything. Well, why is that? But people still do it, and they're getting lost. And now when we talk this realm of cyber, currency and banking information, it's all this targets are easy if you've let them in the device and given those permissions without really thinking hard about it.
So I think that this is partly on users to understand the situations in which they should be installing software and the things they should be allowing it to do.